So, I wanted to welcome everybody to today's webinar. We are joined by Sam from Woods.Dental. Um, we're going to talk today about EFTs because they have become a huge pressure point for offices all over. I mean, with Delta of California, a lot of people don't realize Delta of California includes six or seven other Delta of PA. There's a few deltas that fall under that Delta of California umbrella. Um, but with them announcing that they're going to start charging, I believe it was weekly, right? Weekly for
$15 per week starting January 27. Yeah.
yeah, $15 a week per provider, which uh, is great. We figured it's like $780 a year
Yep.
if you want to stay on checks. But, you know, everybody knows I mean, I personally have preferred paper checks for the past 15 years or so, but I'm catching up to EFTs. I think the technology has advanced up to this point that they're really the way to go. I had, just so all you guys know, I had a meeting a couple weeks ago. Well, I had a meeting a couple years ago, initially with Sam, talked about the product he was in development with, and then touched base a few weeks ago and saw the status updates of where it is and where it's going to continue to go. And I was very impressed enough that, we are signing up our billing clients for the service, and I wanted to get it out there. But really, I don't want today to be a sales pitch. I mean, you definitely should check it out. And we'll put the links in the comment section and everywhere for you, and on the YouTube description when this gets uploaded to YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, look down below for the links. But I want to talk about EFTs, and there's already a bunch of people who are posting in the chat. Please, if you have questions, if you have specific concerns, please, please, please put them in the chat, put them in there. We'll answer them. I know Sam is way more knowledgeable about the EFT landscape than I am. So, I mean, with that, I want to introduce Sam Rockwood. He is with, or the owner of Woods.Dental. We'll put the links down below. But, Sam, thank you for taking the time today. I know you're super busy as well. So,
Yeah, this is great. I'm really a pleasure to be here, Rick, and really glad we could catch up some more recently. And it's funny you say we don't want to do a sales call. Like I'm an actuary. I worked as an actuary. Like I'm a terrible salesman. So honestly, I feel like I just want to provide education, and if people can learn, great. If you think our service can help you, great. But I just yeah, hoping to provide some resources to you guys because honestly, the mission of Woods, as kind of indicated by our name, is like we're just helping people get off of the paper. Like we, as long as we can help people get to EFT, I think that's going to be best for the environment, best for the industry. So.
right. And that again, I want people to really understand. Like I said, I've been an EFT opponent for years because of, I think, the challenges that offices have faced with them. Um, there's very little balancing, and that's my biggest problem
Yeah.
is there hasn't been the balancing of the money was deposited in the account, then we confirm that it's there, then we post the payment, pull the ERA, post the payment to the practice management software. I've seen so many offices that never got the money. And it's crazy to me that that can happen. But, I had a client, and I talk about this one all the time. Had a client in Charlottesville, Virginia, that had DentaQuest send $31,000 not into his account, but to an anesthesiologist in Colorado.
Oh
And then it
no.
took like 6 months to get that money from DentaQuest because DentaQuest wasn't going to give it to the right provider until they got it back from that anesthesiologist in Colorado. And this poor doctor in Virginia is just without $31,000. And we would have never caught it if he hadn't called me to do a different, I was doing a P&L analysis. And I'm like, whoa, 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 you're $30,000 off your bank versus your practice management software. We need to find out where that money went because his team, his office manager just went onto the websites every day, pulled all the ERAs and sent them over to us to post onto the practice management software. And they weren't doing that balancing back and forth.
Right.
And I think that's the key. That's been my holdup with EFTs is, the dentist doesn't want to give anybody login credentials to his bank. He doesn't want everybody to see where he's spending his money or what she's doing with her money. And that's been the holdup. But now I think the technology has really caught up to the point where we can do that. And what is that connection? Is it Plaid?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we've seen a number of ways that people handle this, that offices handle this. Um, so if you are getting EFTs, you're right. They just show up in the bank account. If the office manager or whoever's posting doesn't have access, then at times the bank account owner will set up a separate account just for EFTs, and they may be able to give them access just to that, or they may print something out or let them know, hey, here's what's been deposited. Those work, but they're a little clunky. What we use for our software is we have a connection with Plaid and with Stripe. Between the two of those, then we can get good coverage on 99% of the banks so that uh, we just have the bank owner will put in their credentials one time, and then we have read-only access, and we could just see, okay, is this in the account? Is this in the account? And we'll just let you know on each EOB whether it's been deposited yet or not. So that way, the whoever's posting will know if it's in there, and we alert them if it's like been a few days and it hasn't been sent, or in the rare occasion that they send something erroneous, like they mispay you based on what the EOB says, then we'll also alert you of that.
Okay. So that, I mean, that's super important, I think. And that kind of leads me into, you said two things there that I really want to address. Number one, and we already have this as questions in the chat here. Should we open a separate bank account for that EFT deposit to go into? I know I've kind of given my thoughts and opinions on that, but before I give mine, I'm curious to hear yours.
I think that it is ideal if it's not for most business bank accounts, it's not a tremendous amount of work to just go get a new account. You want to do that before you can start signing up all the EFTs because if you sign up a bunch of them on one account, the insurance companies take a little bit of time to switch it over to another one. So I will say that our clients they do one or the other. Some of them don't set up a new account, and we can still find those EFTs for our software with our software, but I do think that it is best practice not only to keep it separate, but it just keeps it cleaner to have it as a separate account.
Yeah, and that I am a big fan of, like, I call them sweep accounts
Right.
where that money is the EFTs are just deposited into that account every day, however often you get your EFT payments, and then daily or weekly or twice a week or whatever, I use them. I have one for my businesses, and I log into the app and it takes 5 seconds and I hit transfer everything but $1, transfer over to the operating account.
Right.
And I think it also depends on like if you follow the practice first or the profit first philosophy, or traction, anything like that, where they're telling you, have a payroll account and have an expense account, a G&A account, have a this account. That way when that money comes in, okay, I'm going to put this much into the rent, I'm going to put this much into here, I'm going to put this much here, and then what's left is your profit. I think that would make me crazy going that far and having 18 different business bank accounts, but definitely having a sweep account, I think is great. It does, like you said, it makes it much cleaner.
Right.
So it's a lot easier than to go in, and even if you are manually balancing, which, I want Sam at the end to talk about why that's not a good idea. But if you're manually doing it, or if your dentist doesn't want to share access to the operating account, they can give you access just to that sweep account. And then you're not seeing where they're spending their money. You're just seeing, here's all the deposits. And then bloop, there's that transfer for all but $1. And a lot of times you can set them up to be automatic. So they just go right into your operating account, and it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like it's something that for most banks, it's like maybe you may not even need to go into a branch. You just can do it online and just say, hey, open this additional account. And once you get that account number, you start signing up EFTs to be sent into that one.
Right. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Is there's a lot of question, a lot of confusion out there about signing up for the EFTs, because you do have services like Zealous that, they charging a percentage. But, I'll ask you, is it or is it not true? And somebody just asked this question. Um, isn't there a way to get those EFTs for free without paying a percentage?
Yeah, this is one of the unfortunate pieces about the EFT story, I think, or like what's maligning the name EFT in dental is that we're finding a lot of people they want to do EFT to get paid faster. They do a little bit of research. Maybe they even call up MetLife or one of them and say, "Hey, I'd like to switch to EFT." And then what they do is they point them to Zealous or Echo or some other payment partner. And if you sign up with them, then they will take 2 to 3% on every transaction, which is almost as bad as the virtual credit cards. And so that when people do that, they're like, okay, well then forget it. I'll just keep going with checks. What they don't realize is that there's actually HIPAA law requires that every insurance company offer a free version of EFT. And so just unfortunately, you have to ask the right way or know the right website. And actually, I've provided a resource on your Facebook page. Happy to provide it more broadly, but we have step-by-step guides on how to get the EFT for most major payers, and you can do it yourself. You just unfortunately, it's not like extremely well known how to get it. In fact, I will tell a quick story that like when I started Woods, I was working with a friend who runs a dental office in Oregon, and she wanted to get enrolled with a new payer, and so I was trying to set it all up, and I emailed MetLife like 3 different times, and they kept pointing me to Zealous, and I was like, no, I don't want that. I want the free one, and I even had to like send them. I mean, this is silly, but like I sent them the snippet in the HIPAA law that says I could get this for free. Where do I get? And then
Right.
they did send me the link to get the free one. And it was like
Right.
I had to like threaten them basically. So
Yeah. I love quoting 29 CFR. Like I just love I
right,
love
just
when I
rolls off the
get to do
tongue.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, I love, listen, I mean, that's one thing I think a lot of people realize is like if I'm gonna say something, if I'm gonna tell you, well, no, this is the way it is, I have receipts. Like
Yes.
I can send you to the HHS.gov website that says they have to provide it for free. There's nothing that says they have to provide it for free the first time you ask,
Right.
but you have to ask the right way. And
Right.
that is such a huge misconception. And, one of the other misconceptions that I want to address is I've heard people say, I don't want EFTs because if I'm giving the insurance company access to my bank account to make deposits, they also have the ability to make withdrawals. There was even a TikTok doc
Oh
that
yeah.
did a whole video about, this is why dentists are going out of network with Delta because they're forcing us to EFTs and then they want the ability to take money out of our bank accounts without me saying anything myself. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So I mean, look, I I understand the I don't know, the angst perhaps or the anxiety in working with insurance companies. Like insurance companies make dental offices life difficult in so many ways. And so there is some hesitation on like, I don't want to give them this information. But when you enroll, then there's, I mean, not everybody reads it, I understand, but like there's a full terms and service of when you enroll in EFT, and it specifically says in there that um they do not have the ability to just take funds. Like they what they have is the ability to within a short time frame, if they make a mistake, like an overpayment, or they do have a data error or something, they do have the ability to reverse that within a certain small time frame. But
Right. MetLife just did that.
yeah,
Uh, and just so everybody knows, because somebody had said in the chat, MetLife did it. What MetLife did was a correction. They didn't make a withdrawal. They double processed payments. And I mean, it was like over a day or two period where just about all of their EFTs got paid twice.
yep,
So you saw in your bank account 250 deposit, 250 deposit, 193 deposit, 193 deposit. And a lot of people were going, "Whoa, I have extra money from MetLife. Nothing matches up to the ERAs. What the heck?" Federally, I believe it's 5 days. They have 5 days from the date of that error to not withdraw the funds, but actually reverse the EFT payment.
correct,
So they're
correct,
not making a withdrawal. They're just reversing that accidental error
right,
EFT. And so that's, everybody says, well, MetLife just did it. No, they didn't. They corrected an error. They didn't deposit 100 into your account and withdraw 200. They deposited 100 twice and took back one of them. But it wasn't MetLife initiating that withdrawal. It was actually the Federal Reserve reversing the duplicate EFT. So I
great,
think
yeah,
that's important for people to understand because when I say they can't do that, that's always the answer. So thank you, Erica. That's always the response is no, they can. MetLife did it. They didn't. They didn't initiate a withdrawal.
correct. Now the next perhaps logical question is, what if there's an overpayment on a certain claim or something, and they later decide or realize we overpaid you for that claim from previously? Well, those are actually handled the same way as with a check. Whereas on the next payment, then they may make an adjustment there of, and I mean, they give a little explanation of what it was for, but that happens with the EFTs as well, where if it's overpaid on one claim payment, say $100 or something, then the next one, then they'll make that adjustment down. It won't be a withdrawal. It'll just be a lower payment on the next EFT, like they do with the checks.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's pretty standard. It works the same way as it does with paper check. If they're gonna recoup it off of the next EOB. They're not gonna withdraw those funds from your account. Now, somebody did ask, and I'll address this one quickly. Rick, why do you do all but $1? When you open that second account, when you open that sweep account, I open it and like Sam said, it's actually often as simple as just calling the bank. I have a relationship with different people at my bank at, one or two branches that I go to regularly and a regional and all that. I just call and say, "Hey, it's Rick. I need to open a second account for this business. The account ends 2778. I need a second deposit account for that business." And they literally send me a digital signature card. I sign it electronically and the account's open. And they'll say, "What would you like to open your starting balance to be on that account?" And I always say $1. They're not charging me for it. So I take $1 and put it in that account. That way the balance is never $0 because I just, and maybe that's a me thing, Sam, maybe you can talk about that, but from just, I guess, being an old man, like, I don't think you should ever have a bank account with $0 in it. I mean, it goes back to like I have in my wallet, I have a dollar bill that has been in my wallet since 1993 because the vagrancy laws state that if you are destitute and have no money, you are considered a vagrant and can be arrested for being a hobo. So, like, I've been taught since I was a little kid, like, you always have to have $1 on you
That
because
is
if you don't,
awesome.
you're a vagrant.
I
And
never
I
heard
have
that.
that same dollar in my pocket. There's also a little bit of cash in there with Beverly's name on it because we had a fight and I'm
Just
keeping her money. But that I have that same dollar from literally 1993
right.
that has been in my wallet. It's been through five or six wallets in my life since then, and it's just there. And I'm the same way with the bank. Like, I don't want to go down to zero. I open the account with $1. That's kind of like if you've ever worked a cash register, that's my starting drawer is $1. And at the end of the day or the end of the week, whenever I'm doing those transfers, I always bring that account back to that original dollar. So I'm transferring 100% of what was deposited, but I always keep that opening dollar in there just because. And again, that may be me because I'm old and, you know, in my
So
mind, it's constantly 1934, but I,
but I actually, I will say that from my understanding, this can vary depending on the bank and the account. There are some even checking accounts that if you have less than some threshold, they can charge you like a monthly fee if you go below a certain amount. So
right.
so if you do kind of have to, most nonprofits or credit unions don't do that, but if you just kind of have to know for your particular bank, is there a minimum amount you have to hold in there, I guess. So,
Right. And if they say, well, you have to have at least $50 in that account, if
right,
you go below that, there's a $20 charge,
right,
then just open the account with $50 and instead of $1, transfer all but $50. Like, always keep that $50 in there. Whatever that amount is that keeps you above your minimum monthly balance,
right.
keep it above that. So that's why but that's why I do the dollar. I think it goes back to just my insanity and I don't know
Oh, good.
what the word is, OCD, because I'm old. um
So
You know,
I think one other thing I don't know that I've seen this in the chat yet, but one perhaps we've talked about a couple of misconceptions about EFT, and I think we've addressed a couple of those. One additional one I hear is well, just a question of like, can I get EFT for all of my claim payments? Can I convert them all, or do I have to take the virtual credit card, or do I have to take a check? So any of the insurance companies that are doing virtual credit cards can be converted to EFT. My experience is that the only ones that you cannot do EFT are the very, very small regional payers, or like some of the unions, or like very small groups that are paying for those benefits. Um, there's not a lot we can do about that right now, but I will say it is depending on where you are, but for our clients, I would say it's definitely more than 95% of their payments are EFT by now.
right. And we do, we have some of our clients that work with like the UEW local 1740. And, we know if we're calling on an outstanding claim, like we know we have to call this number and we're going to talk to Susie. And she's
Yep.
the only
It's
person
the
in
only
the
one
office that can answer questions about the dental plan for that group. And, you're not going to get the services or the functionality that you're going to get from a Delta. Wow. That was a Freudian slip. You're not going to get the same level of service from Susie that you are going to get from Delta, or they don't have the technology. It's
Right.
literally, and then when that check comes in from the UEW local 17 whatever, it's her signature on the check. The same
Yeah.
person that verified the benefits is the person that writes the check, mails the check to the dentists, because she's representing 250 union members administering their dental plan. It's just
Right.
a different thing. But yeah, I mean, for most of them out there, you can get the EFTs, and I'd much rather do that than pay the percentage. And a lot of people don't realize those virtual credit cards, when you have a merchant services account, you have two rates. Everybody, well, it's flat rate. I mean, if you have like Square and it's 3.75% or something ridiculous, that's flat rate. But most people that have it processed through a bank or through another company that specializes in that, there's a card present rate and there's a keyed in transaction rate.
Right.
And the keyed in transaction rate is more than the swipe the card rate because it's a higher risk transaction. You don't have the card in your hand. So there's a greater threat or risk of a chargeback.
Right.
So it's a higher percentage. And all those VCCs are keyed in transactions because you have a piece of paper, there's no chip or no stripe to swipe. It's keyed in. So then you're paying even more. And then, well, I'm in network. So you're writing off 20, 30, 40, 50% of your fee for that. And then you're paying another 3% for the merchant services fee for getting paid via that virtual card. I hate them. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I would much rather go to EFT. Um, so
Yeah.
let's see. I mean,
I
we
guess
talked about
just to provide a little context, again, I um I understand from the provider's point of view, it's the insurance company makes it very difficult to work with them on many fronts. And so uh but what I would say is like the insurance companies are spending uh millions on printing and mailing checks. And so from just a business standpoint, they're thinking, okay, this is a huge cost. How do we lower this somehow? well, we could push it onto the dentist through virtual credit cards, or we
Right.
could push it onto the dentist through charging them for the checks, or we can try to convince them to go to EFT because that costs less for the insurance company. So my point in bringing this up is that um, I think now that you've seen Delta take this first step of charging for checks, I think a lot of the others are going to realize, oh wait, they got away with that? Like they could do that? We're going to start, and we've already seen some of them take small steps, but I do think that more and more are going to be kind of using the stick rather than the carrot to move dentists from checks to something else, to EFT basically.
For sure. And I will say, and I'm getting ready. We may lose 5 or 6 of our attendees, but they'll pick it up and watch the rest on YouTube later when I get ready to say this. But it's funny to me that the same dentists who are screaming about paying $15 a week to get a check from Delta and saying it's not fair that I have to pay to get paid are also the same doctors who say, "Well, I'm going to pass the credit card fee on to my patients."
Right.
Well, wait,
Right.
you're going to charge them to pay you, but you don't think it's okay for Delta to charge you to pay you?
Yeah.
I get it. Like it
Just
all
deal with the thing.
sucks. It all sucks. But I just it's business. And so many dentists say, oh, but the merchant services fees are killing us. I'm onboarding an office right now doing their financial analysis. And they paid $7,700 in the month of July in credit card merchant services fees.
Hmm. Yeah,
I get it, it sucks.
that's a lot.
That's a lot. But that they're paying 7,700. How much do you think Delta Dental of California spent printing and mailing checks last month? It's a huge number.
Yeah, it's probably 20 million or more. Yeah,
Right. Just in postage and printing costs.
right.
I'm going, well, 7,700 doesn't sound too bad for a million if
If there's an alternative, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Um,
yeah, and there is. But
so
go ahead.
I see there's a couple of questions about getting the EOBs. So every time you enroll an EFT, there's a couple of ways you can do this is um you can, and unfortunately, every single insurance company does it a little bit different, and so you have to.
Right.
There's nuances with each one, but for some of them, the only real way to get the EOBs is to now log into their website. Some of the insurance companies will email you and tell you, "Hey, there's an EOB ready for you." Some of them won't. You just have to go in there periodically. Some of them, then you can tell them to send it to your clearinghouse. If your clearinghouse works with that particular payer to get ERAs, as they're called when
Right.
they're electronic, they're called ERAs. So you can tell them, hey, send these to Vine or Dental Exchange. Sometimes for Dental Exchange, there's like an additional package you have to upgrade to get those ERAs. So it is
Right.
possible to get the EOBs kind of in your clearinghouse or on the website. They'll always be available. Like you can get them. Yeah.
But wait, what if there was a better solution where there was one website that I could go to, log in, see that the deposit was made in my account, and here's the ERA, which for those of you who don't know stands for electronic remittance advice. It's basically the EFT version of an EOB.
Right.
Money was deposited. We've confirmed it. Here's the ERA that matches this deposit. Go ahead and enter it because it's green now. And you can post this payment knowing you got the money. What if there was a solution like that?
That would be so cool. So yeah, I
Sam,
appreciate the
you're not helping me on the sales front, man.
I appreciate the tee up, Rick. I mean, so let me just back up a little bit that when we started Woods, so I'm, as I mentioned, I'm an actuary, which if you don't know is like basically like someone who works with a lot of data and does a lot of math with data. The first thing I wanted to do is I talked to a lot of offices about, okay, why are you getting paid this way? Why are you not getting paid electronically? And the two biggest reasons were, number one, it's a pain to get enrolled. Like there's just a lot of work because I'm working with 15 different insurance companies. I got to find out how to get enrolled and then do the work to get to do it, do the paperwork. And then
Right.
the other biggest qualm was, well, when I get enrolled with EFT, then the funds just show up in my account and I got to go hunting for the EOB. And I like that the EOB just comes with a check. So what we decided was, okay, we're going to build a service where number one, we'll just do the EFT enrollment for you. And so our team is very well versed in this. We've worked with all of the different insurance companies. We do a 30-minute onboarding session where we get the info we need and we'll enroll for you for a fee. If you want to do it yourself, we can provide you the steps and you can do it yourself.
Right.
Um,
But you enroll them the free way, not
correct.
not you have to pay Zealous a percentage ongoing. They pay you one time to
Correct.
enroll them in the EFT for that insurance company. And then there's no percentage after that that they have to pay to Zealous or a processor ever.
Right, correct. All of our clients get free EFT for all of their payments. Um, so we do that just as like to get it all set up, everything, get everything digital. And then we've built a website that aggregates the EOBs from all the different places to basically bring them all into one place so that you don't have to go logging into all of them. Um, would it be
Right.
okay if I just can I show it real quick? Or I don't
If
know.
if if you listened to Chandra and you have the demo page teed up, hit it.
Let's see. Here we go. So this is what it looks like for our clients today. And this is something that I will say that my team moves pretty quickly. We are making adjustments and new features all the time. And we love working with very engaged office managers. And one of the reasons we really wanted to work with Rick, because we knew that his team was very smart. He could help us identify ways we can make it even better. Um, but the idea is that, like you see here, each payer, regardless of who's paying you, you get all the EOBs that come through here. And again, this is dummy data, but you get the idea
Right.
is that when you click into the row, you see what did you estimate as the insurance payment, what was actually paid by insurance. We marry those up, and in this case, you estimated 899, and that's what you were paid. Great. You can also click on View PDF, and this is what we talked about, the ERA data. We basically build this EOB that looks just like if you were paid, like if you got it in the mail, has
Right.
the adjustment codes, the deductible, coinsurance. Now you can download these, put them in a shared drive if you like. You can also just leave them, like they'll always be here in the Woods dashboard, and you can find them back in here.
And that was going to be my question is how long do you guys store those then?
So I'll just be honest. We've been around about 2 years. We haven't deleted any. Like we don't have any plans to get rid of them now. If at some point our data storage is like costing us a lot of money, then we'll let you know. But like there's no plans. I would anticipate at least 3 years we'll keep them in here. But
Okay.
for now, there's no plans to move them. Now here's an example like this Guardian claim where there's the practice estimated $174 would be paid, but they didn't take into account the deductible and coinsurance correctly. And so we just kind of flag it and say, hey, your insurance payment was actually different than what you estimated. So you know. Um, then to what Rick was referring to before on this payments tab, then what it does is it shows all of the different communications as sent by the insurance company. Sorry. So that you can see like for example, on August 2nd, Cigna paid you for 3 claims. Well, they communicated that they paid you for 3 claims, and they said we paid you $1,400.23. And then what we do is with our connection with Plaid, then we check into the bank and we give this bank symbol to say, yes, we can see this is in the account, so this is ready to post. These up here, Aetna, I mean, because the timing of when it shows up in the account and when they send the EOB can be, it's not exact. And so this shows, okay, Aetna says they're going to pay you $248, but we give this clock symbol because we don't see it in the bank yet. So let's just hold on to that. And that it may show up in the next day or two.
Right.
Um,
And never, ever, ever post a payment until the money is in your bank
right.
account.
Right. And we don't have an example here, but if they paid you something differently than they communicated in the EOB, then we give a different symbol here, basically an X saying, hey, this is different. You need to contact them because this is not what is in the bank account. Um, if for some reason, yeah, it's been after 5 days, if the money still isn't in the bank account, then we give a different notification like, hey, this isn't shown up yet, need to contact them.
And that'll happen. That'll happen if there is a recoupment because the EOB or the ERA will show a payment of $100, but they recouped $10 of
Yep.
that for an overpayment on a previous payment. So the actual deposit is $90. So it's not going to match because the ERA says we paid 100, the deposit is for 90. That's where you'll get that X that says something's not right.
Correct. And actually, we give a little bit of info there when that does happen of saying this is why it doesn't match. Or if we don't see a recoupment in any of the EOBs, then we're like, you got to contact them. For some reason, they paid you. In fact, that just happened
Yeah.
recently with other clients. Um, Now, something we haven't talked about, Rick, but I think we mentioned a while ago when we were talking about this is that EFT is also a strong help to deter embezzlement and fraud.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we've heard stories of offices that they go into, say, the Cigna portal and they adjust the banking information so that the deposits go into their personal account instead of the doctor's account. Well, that would be caught here because what happens is the that personal account doesn't get connected to Woods, and
Right.
so this is going to flag it and say, hey, you haven't been paid for this, and because we don't see it in the doctor's bank account, and so that's a way to also flag for possible embezzlement or fraud. If the embezzler does try to connect their bank account through Woods, then we're given an alert that, hey, there's a new bank account. Is this? And we contact the doctor to say, did you do this or is this somebody else? So that's also a great piece about moving to EFT. The last piece
And
I'll just
that
go
that
ahead.
would have caught the doctor that had the $31,000
Yeah.
paid to an anesthesiologist in Colorado. We would have caught that within a few days. I mean, if, DentaQuest says they sent it on August 5th and by August 7th or 8th, it's not in the account, something's wrong.
Right.
There's something wrong somewhere because we know, most of the Medicaid systems, if they say the advice is for 8/5, that deposit went into your account on 8/5.
Right.
So giving it a day or two leeway, that would have been caught in a day or two, and that would have been before the 5-day time limit to correct an
Right.
incorrect deposit. We could have contacted DentaQuest. They could have initiated a correction, not a withdrawal, but a correction, and gotten that money back immediately. And the doctor would have been paid in 10 days instead of 6 months.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's amazing. Like once things are digital, you can move things much faster. The the last piece I was going to mention is that we also so coming back to this claims tab, then you see now this bank symbol is kind of carried through to here. So you know, okay, these are ready to post because we see them in the bank account. You can post a payment here, and uh, we can work with you on if there's necessary write-offs or however you want to use implement those.
Right.
But then it's posted and it'll write into the practice software. That those pieces, depending on your software, we can work with you on the nuances of that. But this is something that I'm really proud of the team. Like this year, been putting a lot of work in testing and working through that. So that piece is going to save you a chunk of time too. If it's something that you can use is the what we call push button posting. Now,
Right.
the last thing I'll mention on that is that it is uh, our intent is not to replace the office staff, but just to make them more efficient because there are still dual coverage, down codes, denials, like some of those that are going to need your attention. We don't do auto posting for those. Some of those, then you'll still need to kind of, there's nuances you'll have to work through. But I would say 80% or more of these, if it's just, hey, you were paid what you expected, then you don't need to go enter $111 in your software. You just press a button. So,
Right. And that I will say, when I'm looking for a service, because listen, I own a billing company, we do billing for offices all over the country. And when I ask my team, what can I do to help you? What can I find to help you? We're always looking for that thing that will help us 80% of the time. Because there's not anybody who walks in the door and says, we are 100% of the time is lying to you. We are human beings and we're not 100%
right.
every time. I have payment posters that will miss an adjustment and the dentist calls me screaming. They missed an adjustment. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should fire them because they missed one out of 597 adjustments. They missed one. I should, without question, that person should be
How dare
terminated
they?
immediately, tarred, feathered, hung up by their pinky toes in the public square. You're right. We're humans. So if I'm looking for, you know, something to help us 80% of the time, I'm good with that. It's not about replacing my team. It's about being more efficient
Right.
because, I mean, this is really the way it is. No, Christine, you're gonna have to wait. Yeah. But yeah, this is not about replacing team members. This is making them more efficient so they can concentrate on the things that really matter. You know,
Agreed.
Working outstanding insurance claims, making sure clean claims are submitted the first time so you have less denials to deal with later. That's what this is about.
I
So,
agreed. Like let the computer do the computer things. Because I'm a strong advocate of like using automation where it makes sense, but not in all things. Like I've seen demos of um, AI receptionists, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's what I want to see when I come into the dental office. Like, I don't know.
right,
Maybe some time we'll get used to that. But when it comes to collecting information, entering information manually, like that's just stuff that a computer does very easily, so that the human can work with the patients more and do some of the more nuanced, difficult stuff that requires more judgment. So
right, exactly. So, all right. So we have a couple questions here. We know about the 80% of the posting. I mean, the thing I'm super excited about is matching the deposit with the ERA, putting it all in one place. I don't have to have my team go into 10 or 15 different portals to pull ERAs. It's all balanced and done. So the question is this, I mean, we'll go through a couple of them here real quick.
sure.
who is gathering the info and how much access do you have to the doctor's bank account? Well, I think we answered that already, but go ahead.
Well, so our team has built automations to, I mean, we have direct access. We work directly with some payers so that they're just sending that data to us directly. When we set up the EFT, then we set it up that way. So some of them, it's just we've already connected with the payer so that they can send us that data directly. We don't have anybody on our team necessarily like gathering all the ERAs or anything. It's done
Right.
automatically.
But
Now, when
but
it
you're
comes to the
using a bank connection through Plaid
right, so when it
or
comes to the banking info, what happens is the doctor puts in their credentials into Plaid one time, and that gives us access to read. We have read-only access to whatever bank account they choose, and then we use those transactions to match up the are the EFTs and to the EOBs.
right. So to answer that question, they have read-only access to the deposits in the account. That's what they're
And
that's
to
what
our
they're looking at. And Plaid, I mean, for those of you that don't know, like everybody uses Plaid. If you have
right,
Venmo, you have to confirm your bank account info through Plaid. If you use, I just signed up my FSA
right,
um app in order for them to make a deposit. I paid $25 for my prescription copay. They're going to transfer that $25 when I upload the receipt into my checking account. In order to initiate that $25 transfer from my FSA account to my checking account, I had to sign in through the FSA company's app using Plaid, signing into my bank account info. I just put the same username and password that I
right,
used to log into my bank's app or my bank's web portal.
right,
You just put that in Plaid, and technically, the way Plaid works is it actually opens up the bank login screen.
right.
You're not sharing it. It's just giving your bank permission to share that info
Great,
with.
great way to put it. You're not, yeah, Plaid doesn't hold your credentials or anything. You're basically telling your bank, hey, please give Plaid access to this, and then Plaid gives access to us. And it's just a
Right.
read only. And so I will say we've had a few clients where the doctor says, well, I don't know if I want you to have access to my transactions. It's like, okay, then you could set up a separate account just for EFTs, and then we just
That's
only get access to that. So,
that's it. Which I love the separate account anyway.
right.
Um, somebody said, are you doing all insurance companies EFTs or just certain ones right now? I can tell you for our clients, if the insurance company offers EFTs for free, which they all do, well, a, a huge majority of
Yeah.
them, they're going to get like Bob's dental plan that's not going to offer EFTs. But
Right.
other than that, I'm pushing everybody towards EFT, verifying the deposit through Woods, get the ERA, and I mean, I know what it costs. Somebody's going to ask in a minute, what does it cost? What does your service cost? I know what it costs, but the amount of time that it saves my team from going out to 15 different web portals, the dentist having to screenshot the deposits for the day, send them to us matching it up, going to the portals, pulling the ERAs, posting them, doing the entry, sending them an email back. Yes, it's all done. Everything is good. It balanced, or no, it didn't balance. We're off. Oh, well, I guess I didn't scroll up far enough when I screenshot the thing. I just you know, it's really a no-brainer for us. And like, I'm not getting a discount. I'm paying the same price you guys are. And why the hell is that, Sam? What the hell? But I'm I'm paying the same, and it's worth it for me, for my team, for all of our clients. So, do you want to share the costs?
Yeah, so if you go to woods.dental, then we have a pricing page on there. We also have details about our our data security and so forth, but I can just show it here real quick. So we charge a one-time onboarding fee, $185 connection fee if you and then $200 per insurance company to digitize everything. So some of our clients come to us, they already have EFT set up, so it's just $185. If you want us to enroll you in EFT, then it would be up to $1,000. That's what most of our clients do. It's $1,000 to enroll all of them in EFT payments. That's a one-time upfront payment.
Okay.
Then
So it's $200 per insurance company. I just want everybody to understand. But if you're doing 9 insurance companies, the most you can pay is $1,000. So
correct.
200 per up to $1,000. So basically it's buy 5, get all the rest for free.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so part of the reason we did that was, like I said, because some already on EFT, or sometimes people want to just try it out. You can do that. Try it out with one insurance company, and then if you say great, then we expand it from there. Um, and then access to the dashboard is $1.25 per claim, and that's capped at $4.95 per month. And if you uh, don't want to use the integration where we post the payments, then it's a lower price point. But again, most clients do like that it kind of posts for them. But uh,
Right.
so it's and the cap is per location. The onboarding is per tax ID, uh, because it is a separate kind of deal to do each tax ID. But again, if you go to woods.dental, then you can see this, and you can even see other info about what we're doing there.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
I
Makes it easy.
I guess someone asked about if we're working with all insurance companies. Um, we we get started by enrolling you in what I would call like the top 12 initially, but then as there are others that you work with, then we check in periodically with the office and say, hey, are there any others you're still getting checks from? And we'll roll those over. We recently did a survey with our clients, and most of them said 95% or more of their payments are coming through the dashboard and are all digital. So we do work with any of them that will go EFT.
Right. And John, just so you know, because I know John just asked that question there at the bottom. Um, when it says works with EagleSoft, that's for the does it match the insurance estimated amount? Does it match this? And the payment right back. We're getting all of our clients set up on this, John. So you and I, we can talk offline about getting you guys set up for this. You're on the list because you're one of the naughty ones that doesn't always pull and send your stuff in a timely manner. So we're going to get you set up on this. Don't worry about it.
Yep. So I just looking at a couple of the last questions. Someone brought up Lassie. So I will say, like, again, because this is a webinar and we are all about like just getting things digital for EFT. Lassie, I don't know a ton about Lassie, but I do know I've met plenty of people who love their service. My sense is that they are more trying to kind of replace a staff member because their price point is quite a bit higher. And
Right.
they've been around a little bit longer, so they may have more features than we do. I don't know exactly, but it is a lot more expensive.
It
There's
is. And
also
it
one
and it
called
it posts the payments, but here's and I am a transparent, upfront individual, unfortunately for some. My thoughts are this. They for 2% or 2.5, it varies, whatever it is. We'll say 2%. They will post your electronic payments. My thoughts are, why would you pay somebody 2% to post the payments when you could pay somebody 4% to send the claims, file the appeals, fight the rejections, collect the outstandings, and post 100% of the payments?
right.
Like the posting of the payments, quite honestly, is the easy part.
Right.
That's the part that I want to automate as much as possible to give my team time to work on the other stuff that is more important. Just my opinion, but
Correct.
maybe that's because I'm biased.
And so to Christine's question, you're the way you send in claims, the verification, that's all done the way you do it today. Woods doesn't touch that part. We basically
Right,
pick up after it's been adjudicated by the insurance company and they're sending payment and they're sending the EOB. That's where we come in and digitize that piece of it. Is that backend?
right, exactly.
Cool.
So, and I'm just going to reply to this one. There we go. Erica said, "Who does all of that for 4%?" I do.
This
My
guy.
company does. That's what my team does. For crying out loud, that's what we do. Um, but yeah, I'm just making sure we didn't miss any other questions because it is 3:01. The biggest struggle is payers don't post EFT transaction numbers, so we have 10 $79 deposits. You guys are going to match those up.
Yeah, so talk to your bank if you're not getting the transaction numbers. We actually have found that sometimes it's something that you just have to ask the bank to include those, and so you can match up what the ACH number that comes from the ERA to what's in the bank. But yeah, our software uses a few other like a little bit more advanced algorithm. If it doesn't have the full ACH number, it can still match it up.
Right, right, exactly. So, I mean, it is 3:02. I know we're supposed to be done here at an hour. I think we answered all the questions that are in there. Do you have, I mean, is there anything that you really wanted to talk about that I missed today?
No, I appreciate it, Rick. I think this was fun, and I do I do like to just be able to help people understand because there has been a lot of buzz, a lot of even angst about EFT recently. So I hope we can help people recognize that okay, this is a little bit of a push into something new, but it can make your life a lot easier and feel free to reach out, go to woods.dental and contact us if you have other questions. Happy to help my team or I will jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. And last thing you had mentioned earlier, that handout on doing the free EFT setup that you guys have. If you can email that to me, Sam, I'll put it into the group files on the Facebook group as
Okay, yeah,
well.
great. I'll do that.
Dental Billing and Business Academy. I'll upload that into the group files when he sends that over. In the meantime, guys, thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you understand EFTs don't have to be as angst filled
Right.
as everybody's making them out to be. You're not going to have Delta withdrawing $7.3 million from your bank account. It's not going to happen. So, finding the tools, finding the things that can make you more efficient is something we should all be doing across the board, not just with EFTs, but with
Agreed.
everything. So, find those things to make you more efficient so we can do our job with less stress and be more successful in the long run. The more successful a business is, the better it is for everybody within the business, employees, customers, and owners. So, Sam, thank you again for joining us today. I appreciate it. It's so good for people to hear things from a third party other than Rick said, Rick said, Rick said. I
But
was just talking to an
you've
office
got so many
yesterday.
answers.
I was just talking to an office yesterday, and the owner called me laughing hysterically. He's like, I got to tell you something. I said, what? He said, half of my team didn't think you were a real person. They thought you were a philosophy that I made up. And I'm
That's quite
like,
the compliment.
that's amazing. Get me on a Zoom with them right now. And I'm again showing my age. I'm like, I'll be max headroom in
Okay.
the, you know, in the screen. And, they were amazed that like I wasn't a philosophy, I was an actual person. So I think it's good for people to hear. But Sam says, I think that will be
There
the
we go.
next
Yeah.
good
We'll
thing for
slowly build
people
up
to
the
hear.
philosophy of Sam Says.
Right, exactly. So we're
Awesome.
we're gonna make Sam Says t-shirts. But thank you everybody again. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, we're gonna put all the links and everything down in the description below. Sam, thank you. I hope you have a great rest of your week, everybody. And don't forget, I'll see you guys Friday morning for our next Drive Live video.